Welcome to Evil Dojo, officially broadcasting on multi-platform legally. One of the big stipulations of the Twitch affiliate agreement is that there's a separation of chat components. You can't intermix Twitch chat, for instance, with other forms of chat. Thankfully, Restream provides a Twitch chat only API. And so I believe this is how we play nice with the affiliate rules. And so if we do anything wrong, we should get a warning if we actually have broken anything. I don't think we are, so we're going to run with it. We'll have to take a break to get more coffee here in a few minutes. Jamming out to Burzum in my headphones. Shoutouts to fucking Varg. Shoutouts to all the supporters of the channel as well. I've gotten such a huge response over the last couple months. Can't thank y'all enough. We're seriously doing this thing. We're making a game in Linux for Mac, Windows, and Linux, and possibly other platforms in the future. I have no idea how we're going to export to those other platforms, but in the very inception here, libsdl 2.0 is all that we need to actually manage getting a game out onto any of the major PC operating systems. I've been working with libsdl2, learning in general how things work over the last 10 years or so. And I feel really comfortable putting things together from scratch now. The last stream I did could be effectively called part 9 of this series. And so this would make this part 10. If I go back and I re-update the titles, everything should be nice and good. So, getting started here, let's do a little cleanup. I'm jamming out pretty hard. Let's see. This is a big ass function for spawn knife. One of the things that we're going to want to do is limit how many knife spray power-ups we actually have. spray ups. So for instance, this is a little bit easier to read, easier to reason about. And we can actually do the computation for how many spray ups we actually present. Like, let's say all right, that's much better. This will limit the amount of spray ups to 5. Right, so that alone will limit the number of knives that we actually fire. So it won't matter how many power ups we collect. But one of the big engineering processes I need to do is like calculate or at least handle like how many power ups we're currently spawning on screen, because and the same thing with the number of bats. The bats we can tune, right? Because the bats are a function of a generator. And So there's a cooldown minimum, right? Cooldown min is specified in main. Oh, there it is. That needs to be moved over to main, like immediately. Look at chat. See if anyone said anything. Nah, not yet. Been a while, dope. No, it's been a while since I've streamed on Twitch. I streamed on YouTube recently a couple times, and I've been having a lot of view success on YouTube. But I figure I'm gonna try and maximize here. Have you seen where the game's at, dope? Got Tyler the Creator on right now. Fucking radicals. Blood Pixels bug. Well, I'm not sure which bug it was, but essentially, if there's too many things on screen, the game slows down pretty hard. And I'm not trying to cheat by using parallel processing either. So check us out. When we grab the brown knife, watch this. Now we got a fucking double knife effect, right? We grab another brown knife, that's going to increase it to 3, and it'll really feel like a shotgun effect. So that's happening because of a combination of 2 different power-ups. One of the power-ups actually applies an amplitude, or a normally knives have only a x velocity but no y velocity, right? So when you grab a green knife, that's a amplitude power up, so you can get a VY applied to your knife. And then when you grab another brown knife, you now get this 2 knife kind of thing going, right? So cooldown min, we're probably gonna have to crank down a little bit. Spawning bats every 10 frames is probably way too fast. But one of the cool things about this too is because I still have the knife catching, you can like run into the knives when they're like double spraying and get like double charged knives firing out. And we're gonna need some enemies that are tough enough to take that kind of shit, because everything only dies in one hit. Yeah, eyeballs are coming like next. They're like the direct next enemy that I want to do. But the catch with them is they're gonna come from the left, and they're also gonna fire bullets at you, right? Like eye lasers or some shit, just like they did in the original. The green scroll makes the size of the knife bigger, so it has a wider hitbox. And if you hit the enemy right, you can kill multiple in one shot, which is pretty fucking fun, honestly. We have not run into another brown knife in a hot minute, though. What's up, Eddie? Oh shit, local chatter alert. Hard as fuck. Shoutouts to YouTube chat. Not trying to intermix, but because something Twitch affiliate agreement, etc. Hope you're having a good day, man. Appreciate the support. Shoutouts to Dev SA, which I wouldn't have even been introduced to if I hadn't met a particular dude heavily involved in the community at a Google meetup of all places. Go figure that networking, actually helps. But I think we live in a much better age than when I first started programming. At least in the part of the country that I was born in. Texas has been pretty sweet in this regard, like actual programming community. I'm still surprised we haven't found another brown knife. There we are. There's one. Okay. So now we got 3 going. Look at the shotgun effect, man. That's like so... It feels so good right now. And there's not enough stuff on screen for it to be too bogged down. Oh yeah, dude, please. Go for it. I really appreciate anybody helping share links. That's fucking awesome, man. You rule. I can't say the same for IRC. People are very hesitant to share links and click other people's links, and it's a much harder community in the gangster sense of the word. I think this is why it turns a lot of people off. But a lot of people also don't know that Twitch's back-end chat is also built on IRC, right? Like, he's talking about the developer San Antonio Discord. It's a local, because I'm San Antonio, obviously. Graduated from UTSA, bachelor's in computer science, 13 years ago at this point. I actually walked the stage 14, 15, 16, 17 years ago. So I've, not to mention I've been programming since I was like 11 years old. So, I've been doing this a very long time. And it's one thing for, you to like commit to other people's tools, right? But I always had it in my mind that it had to be done in pure code. And for most of this is mostly pure code, with exception of the sprites. Yeah, no, the whole goal with the feel is that we want a really good, clean feeling game built in a fashion that more closely reflects like when I started playing video games, which was 1989. So I am an 80s kid. And a lot of my influences are going to be very clear by how I make design decisions, right? Like, I can't help that. You know, a lot of the more popular streamers are, you know, much younger than I am, and even they consider themselves old. So, but it also makes me very happy that there's like a market for like retro games still, right? Because oftentimes there are games that I prefer to play. Games that have like a low-tech feel. But even then, like, there are kids nowadays, even in 2024, going back and playing older games. And so that, to me, says that there's still an opportunity to make old-looking games in a new way and take advantage of all of this fucking hardware that we have. Like, yeah, Pico 8. I actually bought a license for Pico 8, so I'm totally able to do like Pico 8 streams if I wanted to. Damn, we're 8. I've been playing Skull for 9 minutes almost. And no real graphics slowdown or anything. I mean, a little bit, but still. Running at near 60 FPS while streaming on a computer that doesn't have a GPU, it's just onboard graphics. Like, this is pretty good. And we don't have that many entities on screen right now either. I still have to go through and like tune out the code to handle how power-ups spawn. Because eventually, if you do collect enough soul shards, we are going to get a fuck ton of power-ups on screen, and we can probably make the game slow down significantly. If it did lag, I would be very surprised. Well, I can make it lag, certainly. A lot of that's relative to the number of entities that are on screen at any given point. So if you wait with me, and actually I think that's not going to happen because I've turned down how many bats are spawning. So we probably will never actually see that unless I go back into the game code and change that value that I just updated. We set the cooldown minimum to be 30 frames. So originally I had it at like 10, and if we play the game long enough to get to that point again, we'll very easily see a big slowdown. I don't feel like playing that far again right now, though. Coffee is probably near ready if it's not. Make it one frame. Oh, God. Okay, so, yeah, I mean, if you want to fuck around, like, we could do that real fast, right? Like, I could start the game with that many, but I'll probably get overwhelmed very quickly and not be able to kill them all. Because there's going to be, like, a critical point in gameplay during this first level that I'm working on here, right? Where you can kill enough bats comfortably to get the power-ups and then be able to handle the greater number of waves as they come. But oh, absolutely. Well, right, that's exactly where we're at right now. In a recent stream, I was playing around with seeing how many entities I could spawn on screen, because I'll show you right now. We could easily do this even without like having all the bats spawning in a great number by just changing the configuration for how many blood pixels we spawn. So I've got an interesting setup here. Check this out. We can actually spawn as many blood pixels as I want per kill. And we can make the game lag like immediately, without even having to do a whole lot of shit. So check it out. First kill, we're going to generate 8,000 individual pixels on screen. And see how much slower it gets, right? And we can do it a second time to get even more, and it slows down even further. But the way that the blood works, there's a lot of reasons why it slows down like that. And that's kind of where the decision to limit how many things on screen is coming from, because I don't want to lose this effect, right? I am in love with this effect for some reason. When it's a small number of pixels, it feels really good, and it doesn't slow down anything. But by jacking the number up, this isn't really a bug, though, Dope, as I kind of realized. It's exactly how computers work. You know, you're going to run into a hard limitation at a certain point whenever you're working with any values that might be passing through the CPU cache. In this case, imagine that you have 8,000 structures, right, that contain 2 doubles, 2 integers, and some other values possibly. And you have to run all of these things through your CPU. And this is happening on a frame-by-frame basis. This is physics, dude. This is literally like fucking physical limitations at a certain point. So it's not exactly a bug. This is totally how it's supposed to work. It's just a performance limitation, right? And so that can be tuned. That's not a problem. We can figure out how to deal with that. So one thing I was doing that's kind of like, you know, because the effect feels good even at like 5 pixels. If we're only spawning 5 random blood particles per kill and shoving them in random directions at random speeds, it still feels really good. Because when you start killing a lot of them, you'll start seeing a lot more blood. And each blood particle also has its own lifetime, randomly generated. So you have another value that you have to keep track of just to kind of clean up the scene a little bit faster. And so it's a delicate balance between like just shoving things on screen and then also managing all of those things, right? Like, I'm not taking advantage of the GPU at all, other than whatever's built directly into SDL's API. So, oops. So this is where I feel like a lot of the real work of the game development process is going to begin, right? It's all about fine-tuning the numbers, because we have a system that works. I haven't experienced a crash in a long time, and it feels good to play. Like, even without a second enemy, just adding in power-ups and getting into this rhythm of adding things and kind of like making all of the things available to start with so that we can focus more on level progression, enemy introduction, and actually putting pressure on the player so that they have to try harder to not die, right? For longer periods. Because we want to get people into a Skinner box. We want to get them into a good feedback loop. Like, if I'm getting stuck in this feedback loop, I can only imagine other people are going to be as well, right? So I'm thinking that there's going to end up being 2 main modes of play. The first mode, which was the original idea, was that we were going to have 6 levels that reflect Gradius 3, or Gradius 3, however you pronounce that. Because that's one of my favorite side-scrolling shooters of all time. But since then, the game has kind of evolved into a bullet hell potential, right? I'd like to do bullet hell-like things like in the Toho games, such as bullet grazing. Bullet grazing is when you can dodge a bullet so close that the bounding boxes for the hitbox touch. And these are a lot of different ideas that I want to implement. So let's pick something concrete and easy that we can do in this very moment before I get a cup of coffee. Let me think. So we just oh yeah, okay, I can commit these changes. We're hard limiting the number of knife spray ups and the number of extra knife ups. Oh yeah, so M. Blenzewski was also talking about setting up to frame by frame. So I'll show you what that looks like before I get coffee. That's a fun idea here. So when we spawn generator, and let me make this larger for y'all. That's what they said. Ooh wee. Ooh wee. Let me oh god, my fucking voice is cracking. I'm trying to do my fucking Mr. Poopy Butthole impersonation. Wowee! I sure can't wait for the next episode of Rick and Morty. We do not own that copyright, so please do not sue us. I sure love to see what these guys get up to on their latest adventures. And normally it's gotta be a little bit more high-pitched like this. Wowee! Okay, enough of that. Alright, frame by frame, right? Like, so we'd have to set the cooldown min to like 1, and then we'd also have to jack the starting cooldown to be like 1, and then the cooldown timer to cut in half we'll just leave as this value because we're just fucking around. So here we go. Check it out. Oh my god. I'm gonna die. I'm gonna fucking die. Oh Jesus. Yeah, instant game over. Look at that. So we're effectively getting 5, 6, 7, 8. We get about 9,000 bats on screen before they touch me and I get fucking murdered. It'd be useful to control things like what power-ups you can start with, right? Like, we want to be able to fine-tune that sort of thing, too. So we'll just have 3 values here, and comment 2 of them out. Right. That's right. In the to-do, we can be like, no, that's not at all what I want to say, copilot. Thanks, but no thanks. We want to tune power-ups such that you can specify which power-ups the player starts with the beginning. Hard limits on how many of each power up will matter. This will and my eye has been fucking me up. It's like a bad allergy day or something. Um, we also want to specify so power up types, right? So whenever we pick up a power up and we mark it for deletion, we run through all our various maps and we erase power up types and is power up. So we could count either is power up or power up types. And if there's not if there's like so many different power ups on screen and you haven't collected them yet, so we can go into tools, main, so I mean we could just iterate through is power up, right? Is t count Oops. Screen. Not entities. Or auto KV is power up. Oh. Oh, oops. There we go. So now we have a small function that will actually count out how many power-ups are on screen at a given point. This seems a little expensive because every time we spawn a power-up on screen, we could have a variable that we simply increment or decrement. We would have to decrement every time the power-up goes off screen or it's collected by the player. And we have to increment it. So maybe we don't need this. Maybe instead All right, so power-ups on screen, we reset to 0 whenever the game starts. Respawn power-up. We now have a power-ups on screen that we increment whenever we actually fully create a power-up and actually display it. Over in update, we now have access to power-up screen. Power-ups on screen, rather. Handle power-up transformation. So if marked, for visualization's sake, we'll now have access to power-up on screen and load debug text. This doesn't limit it, right? This only creates the infrastructure so that we can limit it if we need to. Let's test out that this actually works and tracks stuff before I get coffee. All right, so soul shards not power up, clearly. However, when you get 5 soul shards, you get a power up on screen, and it's a randomly selected one. If you have not taken any hits, there's no reason to generate health, so no heart can possibly spawn, but everything else will. You get a brown knife. There are actually 6 power-ups on screen, apparently. Something didn't feel right, though. It's not correctly counting, and it's also not decrementing when I pick them up. Handle update, skull collision power up. Okay. See that we're actually correctly tracking them now. All right, there's the first power up. It's knife speed increase. Did not decrement. Fuck. Why the fuck not? Oh, did we already, like, did it spawn, like, at the same time? Okay, there's one. There's 2. Let's pick one up. All right, 1, 0. Okay, let's spawn one and get it to go off screen. All right, Now let's just survive long enough to watch it successfully disappear. Damn, why is it still registering? Fuck. Yeah. Panel power up transform. Oh, we're not calling it anymore. Fuck, that's why. So that's all handle transform based off the type. So if it's power up, right? The other day we moved everything into just one function, so we're trying to eliminate a lot of the extra function calls in an effort to eliminate any potential bottlenecks. All right, let's get a power up on screen and watch it fly away. All right, there's 2 on screen now, but we want to watch the counter decrements. All right, it's successfully handling. Good, okay. This is important because now we can actually hard limit how many power-ups we are spawning. Sorry, my eye is tearing up on me. Bad allergy day, man. Fuck. I haven't looked at the allergy info in a while. Like the weather. I should probably look at that just to confirm my suspicions. God damn. Last few days have been just fucking awful. I don't mean to talk negatively, but it is a frustration when my body refuses to do what I want it to. Texas is not too bad right now. San Antonio is not too bad. What's the pollen info? It's a medium, but man, pretty bad. Everything still looks good, so let's go ahead and commit this code. We'll do some cleanup. That way we don't actually have to do a fucking frame by frame count of our maps. It'll save us a lot of compute. Give us the ability to, whenever we spawn a power up, just check that variable, and if it's above a certain number, don't spawn a power up. So, while you'll be able to pick up tons of soul shards, if you haven't collected the existing power ups, no new ones will spawn. So, any additional soul shards that you collect for that won't really matter. And I'll probably even end up jacking up how many soul shards you need to collect before a power up will spawn. That way, you have to collect even more soul shards to get just one power up, and that'll greatly reduce how many power ups spawn and with what frequency. Because you'll still be killing a fuck ton of bats, right? And when you're in that full throttle of gameplay, that's when we want to introduce the eyeball. Ooh, something bad there. I got like long eyelashes and like an eyelash that turned inward or some shit, man. Let's stand up for a minute. So it'd be a good way to find a way to really make use of my desk in its full fashion here by raising the table a bit. Let's see. Maybe I turn off my light too. Oops. Yeah, like I scratched it or something. Something got stuck in it in the middle of the night one day, and fuck, man. Okay, this is a little better. I turned off my light. I'm standing up now. Benefits of a standing desk. Right on, dope. Yeah, I'll probably be stepping away for coffee here in a sec. Good first hour, though. Up until a fucking eye attack, man. Jesus. I have an example of this. wherever we call spawn power up. Thing an update. If player soul charge is greater than soul power up cost, and power ups on screen is less than 10 or less than 11. We'll eventually put that into a variable as well. So this will have a pretty good performance boost in general, in terms of preventing the engine from getting to the point of even having that many entities on screen without us having to like actually do any sort of like limitation check on the number of entities themselves. Because we can generally trust at a certain point, is especially now, that we won't have more than so many things on screen at a certain point. So when we're flooding bats at the enemy, or at the player rather, when we're flooding bats at the player, and there's tons of soul shards on the screen, there will only be 10 power-ups at any given point. And it might be pretty difficult to navigate from column to column, row to row, if you have a lot of bats and you haven't powered up sufficiently. So you better get those power-ups early. Don't let them get away, because eventually you won't be able to even get them. Let's see. All right, we're going to take a little break here. Time to get some coffee, time to get some fresh walking around, stretching for a minute. What's something else that we need to do here? I mean, we could test and kind of figure out how it feels once we get to that point again. and see if we can't reason through a couple other things, because I might not be on for too long today. My eye is bothering me pretty bad, as much as I'd like to continue streaming. I'm gonna change my shirt though. Maybe having clean clothes will bring good luck or something. But before I go, let me BRB. And actually, you know what? This would be a fun time for me to pull out the oh, it's core dumping. Whoops. This is broken at the moment. Now it's no longer broken. Let's see if this runs and stays running until I get back. Let's see. Oh, it crashed. Damn it. Yeah, we can fuck around with this too when I get back, because it's kind of fun to play with. All right, we're back. All right, this thing's a little broken. That shouldn't. Let's see. Yeah, my eyes calmed down for a moment, like getting up and moving around. Sometimes I think like a little piece of my neck or some shit pulls on me in the wrong way. I don't know what exactly, but anyway, I'm good now. I don't know for how long, but okay, so actually, okay, this is breaking. Um, there we go. So that's actually sand physics, but I had set it up like this earlier. Check this out. I should set this up to be full screen, right? But then I might have to do recalculations on a bunch of stuff. Check this out too. This might actually even be like a paint tool that we can kind of play around with. Because if you know how SDL works, you can actually write a small function, take screenshots inside of your game or your program. I was playing around with trying to get the liquid simulation working, but a lot of the motivation for this comes from a game called Noita, which is an award-winning game. I haven't played it yet, but it looks really fucking cool. This is the kind of stuff that you can do in that environment, and I'm very interested in exploring this technology for other types of game applications. So when I watched the tech demo that the dudes wrote and presented at a Gamedev conference, and that led to me sitting down and dabbling long enough to make something like this. It's very Terraria, very retro. Like I'm literally manipulating an array of 320 by 240 bytes, not even bytes, integers, storing color information in each location, but That's really not a whole lot of memory. It's what, like fucking 320. What? Let's see. Where's my calculator? 320 by 240 by 4 bytes. So it's like not even 3 megabytes of memory, right? It's just a little under 3 megs for the main data structure for this screen to sit in memory. Not counting the rendering aspect, but just like, what's here, right? That's pretty cool. So shit got fucked up there. So now only a little part of the water is going over here. But eventually this little reservoir will start to fill up. Over here it's like going pretty hard though. You can see the water flowing. It's like consistent to a point. Our little blast stand. Technically the blue stuff's not water at the moment because I commented out that stuff. It was breaking in code though. So realistically, what we need here is actually to turn that off, turn this on. That's what she said. Ooh-wee. So then we take this if statement and join it with this if statement. Now we can do this. There we go. Now it works again. So this is liquid, right? Now we can actually put real sand on top of this. And that's actually liquid. It'll create a little pool there. Just let everything kind of flow. And the end result of this is actually really cool. Like, I can totally see myself painting using this kind of tool and creating different art. It's honestly like really fun. Like, really hits the dopamine receptors to like see the code working in action after having sat down to play with it. So you see how it's never going to get any water over here until we do something like this and we force it. So yeah, I think stuff like this is really fun. Can we like set full screen at the very beginning? Oh, what is the full screen function? There we go. I also have this kind of cool setup where I've created like a sand countdown timer where it's in C++, yes. So check this out. Individual sand countdown. Each block is separated by 60 frames. Libsdl 2. That's the only library that I'm using. Oops. Thank you. Yeah, no, I think this shit like this is really fucking cool. Like the timer in the top left represents how long it's been running. So there's a direct correlation between how much sand has fallen and what the time is. So there you can like that's 1 minute's worth of sand right there, right? Or blood or whatever we want to call it. I'm gonna have to take a break to take my grandma's dog out to pee pee. But this is also a very good like demo, right? Like I can click anywhere on the screen and start like shoving more. Although the math is off because I'm full screen, so I could accidentally crash the program if I do that. I'm gonna probably end up doing more programming on Skull off stream, but I wanted to show everyone where it was at and what I've also been experimenting around with. Um, we'll effectively call this part 10 of the ECS series because at some point I want to find a way to integrate this kind of technology into an ECS system. Like, one thing I can kind of imagine doing is rendering like low scale sprites, because this is actually 320 by 240 blown up, right? So I can imagine finding a way to, draw sprites as I normally do, and then load them into this kind of scene where I'm able to keep track of the various pixels on screen that represent the player, and allow for cool effects like being able to partially destroy the sprite, right? Like do bloodstain effects where if a bat or a player or a knife gets hit with blood pixels, we could find a way to apply a stain to those. We might even be able to do that without integrating the system, but this is just like where my head has been at, trying to think about ways to improve the performance of the game and retain that nice blood splatter. So let's restart this. Actually, let's go ahead and commit our fix. The code for this is up on GitHub too. Everything that I do today, I'm going to commit at the end of the stream. All right, so let's run that and then just say BRB for a minute, because yeah, we can actually pull up some music for you guys too. I know a lot of y'all are fan of my work, and there's a contest on LRH on IRC this May for $1,000, and to get your music pressed onto an LP, which I think is amazing. I've gotten pretty close to winning contests in the past, so I think it's a good opportunity for me to earn some extra scratch, maybe even showcase my music making process, and find a way to make something good that people like, and win that cash. So I'll sample y'all some of my musics while I am BRB, and I'll pull that up right now. So give me a sec.
Always the same thing that disrupts my life. Wonder when I'll change. I guess when the time is right. Procrastinating, mind arranged to change would be a fight. So I'm pacifist, like I'm afraid to get a bloody fist. Look at this, my mind is pissed and I keep running. Why is this? When I hit it, always lose them stunning. Always gentle giant, no defiance, all build an alliance and still think that I am peasant. I stuck in the future, but I'm never looking at the fucking present. Keep it up, act like you're all that. Here's a cookie too and a present. Led from a desert eagle, deagles going louder than my motherfucking beagle. And your life you get no sequel. Leave your loved ones crying like some seagulls. You are not my equal, you are equal, but I'm feeble. And now I'm going regal. Don't fuck with us. Hope you learn a lesson. Exile music.
Shoutouts to all the chatters. Shoutouts to Zartet for laying it down on the circuit. Shoutouts to B-Rex for hacking my shit up, fam. This is LRH Animal Type Rap Beat number 1. Here's it down dirty on some funky animal chatters. They hang out the channel run by a dungeon master. Don't come with hate. You just might wake a raptor. When packets hit your system, you'll be timed out after. Are you flying high like a fruit bat? Chill pussy like a cat, or snitching like a rat? Apex Redditors adding subnets to their hit list. Feds in the chat, strictly funny, no business. IRC, it's a fucking zoo. Humans chatting lines like monkeys flinging poo. Put your hands on the keyboard, you know what to do. I wonder what kind of animal is inside of you. Motherfucking C. Get stung by a jellyfish, bust out your wheels. Close your eyes so that you cannot even see. Chatting online has animalized me. Networks like anemones, all species come together for some masky. Can flood DDoS, so they talk shit real nasty. My beats are 0 days, so you know I come out blasting. Dark Mage Crab Game, do not get him started. Big Bear B-Rex, freaking with the Zartet. Don't treat him down as hard. Venom like monkeys swinging poo. Put your hands on the keyboard, you know what to do. I wonder what kind of animal is inside of you. I-R-motherfucking C. Get stung by a jellyfish, bust out your pee, claw out your eyes so that you cannot even see how chatting online has animalized me.
Hey, I want to talk about my new best friend. He's smart and he's into things like aviation. If you don't like this chatter, then that's your fucking loss. He's got a dog that eats towels and he can program like a boss. He's a top tier chatter. We should crown Effie as king. Dark Mage and Jew Bird had to kiss his ring, destroyed in a contest that I didn't even see. He had his chat rights restored and ended up impressing me. He's got a nice house, a cute dog, a flight sim, a guitar, even if other chatters think that he's bizarre. When I see him chatting, he says something like brr brr. I know that he would never ever ever wear 2 shirts. Who said you could talk to Effie, get out his business? He is always sweet and wishes me happy Christmas. Anyone to mess with Effie, I know who you are. You should just know Effie is an IRC superstar.
Shoutouts to Angie.
Shoutouts to Logic.
Sorry if that wasn't loud enough for y'all. Alright. We're back. I don't know for how long I'm going to readjust the sitting position though. I think I got my cracks out. Alright, we're back to ECS. We're gonna do a full play test, get to the point where max spats are spawning on screen, and observe that the game is not really slowing down or anything like that. It should be pretty tight. We still have a bunch of extra shit to implement, but we're going to be in a really good checkpoint here once we confirm this, because then from there we can go in a number of directions. We'll be able to spawn a new enemy, start working with that. We'll be able to start working on fine-tuning the power-up generation, give myself a bit more power when it comes to turning power-ups on and off. We can, yeah, there's a lot that we can do. So let me start by lowering my desk. All right. Little lower back support. Okay. Let's see here. Okay. Hopefully I eliminated any signal feedback or static that you might have been getting. I'll be able to feel out any lag that occurs. But we'll also be able to see it in the FPS. I should also consider adding in like time to frame draw and that sort of stuff, or like time in between each frame. Because there is the difference between the time it takes to render the frame and the time it takes for the whole loop to occur per frame, right? Because every frame draw, we're doing a whole bunch of stuff before we even get to drawing the frame, such as transforming the world state. Certain power-ups will want to stop generating at a certain point. We want to limit how fast the player's moving and stuff like that. Can't wait to make a soundtrack for this. We want to get a brown knife. I've gotten hit a few times. There's a brown knife. There we go. Now we can really up our killing power. So if you want to skip certain power-ups, you can. And at some point, maybe you can make the blood pixels fall on the ground. Yeah. That would actually be pretty easy to do now. We could try playing around with that. I've got a real sick track in right now. I've been listening to some Burzum. What is the name of this track? Definitely something. Yeah, My Journey to the Stars. This is a favorite. I wonder if the Suicide Boys track is a homage to this. So this is how I got introduced to Burzum, was through Ghostmain. Really not a whole lot on screen. And yet it's, yeah, it feels like a lot. This is good. So about 5 minutes in, you're really cranking. So we can do similar item limiting for each power up. yeah, at this point, we need to start applying pressure to the player. This is actually a fantastic checkpoint. A lot of the other things can be limited, but like as you can see, we've maxed out the extra knife and the spray that we wrote code for earlier, so that we're limiting how many of these power-ups actually matter when you pick them up. If you pick up 5, that's the biggest bonus that you're going to get right now. And it doesn't look like you need much more. We'll probably end up putting limits on the size of the knife as well. There's also other power-ups to implement, such as a power-up to make the skull itself smaller. Yeah, this feels pretty good. Like, I'm pretty sure we're near max cooldown for the knife firing rate, but I don't think there's a cap on speed yet. So if we were to keep collecting red power-ups, the knives will keep firing faster and faster. I don't know what the cap should be for certain things. Look how big the knives are now, though. It feels pretty good. Let's wait for a bunch of bats to get on. All right, so if we want to test blood falling to the ground, we're gonna have to make a separate random distribution. So if we wanted to limit the blood to just falling, right? When we go to create a blood pixel, blood velocity, what? Positive, so just yeah, positive distribution. So that way, the generated random y is only going down on the axis, because going down on the y in this computer space is positive movement, right? So we could do something like, let's take a look at the blood pixels now. Yeah, they're like exclusively falling down. We could even jack up that value right now. Let's do 100 just to see how it looks. It looks all right. I'm not necessarily sure that that's the only direction we want them to go in, but we could even tune it so that instead of the X being in either direction, we could also do blood velocity positive distribution for that as well. Now they'll actually, let's change it so that there we go. Well, now it's going to the side and in all directions, which also looks really good. So that feels pretty good. I'd say this has been a successful testing session. We didn't do anything too heavy duty, and that's okay, because I don't really have the concentration for that right now. But I wanted to get on and do something for this week. I'm trying to become a better live streamer. Requires a lot of focus and attention, which is greatly lacking around here lately. And not for a lack of trying either. Let's do some cleanup. Some of these I may not even need, but they're here anyway. So hopefully in the future be able to eliminate a lot of these data structures and kind of reduce the number of lines of code. On is a big nasty file. All right. Man, my fucking eye, though. What is going on here? Might be connected to my back. Fuck. Okay. Might be okay. What else can we get done here? We could play around with an idea. One problem that we face at the moment with the idea of when a generator can actually start spawning, right? Let's take a look at so update generators actually handles the process of going through the generators list, which at the moment there's really not a whole lot of shit There's like one generator that we actually use. But we could have more than one. Hell yeah, smoke break sounds good. I may as well turn my machine on here. Got a little something something. A little pick me up. Let's play around with an idea though. Right? Let's think about this. So there's two things that we want to do here. So I make these notes about movement implications because this way we won't have to specify which direction of the screen the enemy is spawning from. We can just make that determination based off the VX. Now, this won't handle enemies that might spawn from the top, right? So actually, we do need to specify spawn location. Because at the moment, enemies are moving into the screen from off screen, right? And I don't know that it's always going to be this way. We might have situations where we want enemies to spawn in the middle of the screen. So spawns at the moment are really kind of dedicated to enemies, or rather generators, or rather dedicated to enemies. But I could foresee a possibility in the future of wanting to like generate other entities in a similar manner. Not exactly sure how I'll go about doing that, but let's take a look at components. This generator is just a component. It's essentially an invisible entity that sits in the background and does generation of whatever enemy type you specify. We can turn the generator on and off by specifying a flag. So, for instance, if we needed to blink a generator on and off, we could do that somehow. But one of the things that we would need to be able to do for this, for instance, we would have to add 2 extra fields. So it'd have to have like something like frame begin. So that should break some stuff. It compiled, but I would think that things are broken because I don't actually specify All right, so now over in the init, we have an error because spawn generator, we have not updated its declaration here. So now when we actually call it, we get to specify when the bats begin spawning. I'll unban you. I may or may not have cleared bans. I'll do that real fast. Hey, Octo. Didn't see you chatting there over an hour ago. Yeah, of course. I definitely want to finish implementing. No, you're actually not banned, Dope. So yeah, feel free to join back up. As per the Twitch affiliate agreement, I'm not going to be displaying chats from outside of Twitch on stream. So apologies there. So if we wanted to prove that this worked, let's set a timer for 5 seconds. Actually, let's do 3,600. Let's do 1 minute. Nope. That didn't work. Oh, right, because we haven't updated the code for generator. So for each generator, constant frame begin. If frame begin is greater than frame count, then we can do all this stuff. Damn it. The bats should not be spawning. Do I need to delete the build folder? Why so many lambdas? In response to Octo, I am using for each from the from the algorithm library, which allows me to use lambdas. Damn it, why are the bats still spawning? Oh, wait. Spawn generator. We never actually attached it. Whoops. No, we did. We did. Wait a second. Okay, so it is picking up the correct frame again, but oh, wait. Yeah, it should never be getting inside of here. Oh, wait. Why is this running? Why is this still doing that? Oh, no, 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 no. This is backwards. It's actually fucking backwards. All right, now we can see that the generator for the bat will not trigger until a minute in, or approximately 3,600 frames. So let's wait a minute. That'll give me time to do my thing here. And my eye is really light sensitive right now, like due to whatever I did to scratch it. I took a look in the mirror in the bathroom and it's fucking bloodshot as shit. I was thinking maybe it's like allergies or pink eye or something. Grandma's got something really bad going on with her eye too, and there's the bats. So the timer works. So that's fucking great. Let's go ahead and commit that. That was easy enough. Oh yeah, it should be cold water. I'll do that next time I'm at the sink rinsing. It's like allergic reaction as fuck. Oh yeah, well, my health isn't in not great the last few months. It's one thing after another, it feels like. I don't really have a lot of time during every day to fully care for all the things I need to care for. I'm trying. So now that we've got a frame begin added for generators, we gotta find a way to determine or like specify spawn position or location. It'd be nice if we had like a simple enum that could specify up, down, left, right, or top, left, bottom, right. And then we'd be able to force the bats to specify or load in from that location. One of the problems with passing in a VX VY for the bats at the moment is that we're randomly generating it based off of a distribution. Same thing for their position on the y-axis. So if it were a case-by-case basis and we could like pass in a position or like a part of the screen, we'll be able to do something like if the enemy type is bat, then when we go to grab the property off the generator to specify part of screen, it won't matter what the VX is, because for bats, they'll only be able to specify or spawn from the left or the right. We could find a way to start throwing them up from the bottom of the screen, but this might require a little bit more re-engineering. But for right now, being able to do left and right should be sufficient, because then we'll be able to start spawning them from either location, maybe even randomly, and really apply some pressure. But since the player appears to be moving from left to right, most of the bats are going to be spawning from the right of the screen. But for testing purposes, let's find a way to make them spawn from the other side. Let's do this without a generator first. Or rather, let's do this in the generator update code. See, spawn bat group gets called, and we're able to pass in the XY directly right here. But so that's good for the generator, because then we could just pass in a property to represent either side of the screen. But if we wanted to change which direction they were flying in, we're going to have to fuck with the spawn bat group and then spawn bat. So we spawn bat group, we'll be able to extend it so that we can pass in a VX, VY, or even just a VX. So we'll be able to pass in a negative value to change direction. This is a bit of a hack, but spawn bat group. Will then get called by here. So effectively at the moment, this would be like a modulator. Uh-oh. Line 89. Oh, whoops. Okay, that should work. All right, so that still works, but in theory, now if we go over to update and we go back to the generator, we could technically start spawning bats from the left side of the screen and make them move right. Actually, no. Yes. Now if we make this negative, uh-oh. So we can actually make this 1. Oh, the bats are disappearing too fast. So because they're getting positioned incorrectly. So let's get rid of those asserts. So when we initialize bat vx vector, these should all be like negative values. Uh-oh. Now x would not work here. But we'll have to fix the update stuff. Yeah, you can see the bats briefly appearing. And it's probably a problem with just removing them early. Let's make sure that we're spawning them with the correct speed. Oh, they're having negative speed. Uh, oh, whoops. Second value scale. Now we should see them coming to the right. Yep. Now, realistically, they should be spawning like a little bit off screen, right? So I have to grab the size of the sprite to get the width, and then move the X back by 1 unit. So everything still works. But ultimately, this is a bit of a hack. And we're going to want to specify like a parameter to determine if we want to spawn from the left or the right. Stand up a bit. Little plant for the soul. All right. So what's the next step? We got to add in a toggle for the generator so that if we are spawning bats, we can grab that toggle to see which case we want to generate bats for. Let's see here. All right. All right, we're passing in screen generator or screen position. Um, oh yeah, that's an init. All right, so spawn generator now takes in a screen position and it assigns it to a newly created generator. So over an update, if the case is enemy bats, and we have a screen position, we're going to switch on screen position, right? Yeah, in a minute, I'm probably going to go wipe my eyes out. All right, so let's see what's the same here. What's different? If no screen position specified, we don't want to do anything. So now, in theory, we should be able to switch between them as well as have multiple generators that have different periods. Wait, that's still spawning from the left. Okay. There we go. It's that easy now. Now let's do something really crazy. Check this out. Let's see. Where are the other bats at, though? Oh. All right, so we want to turn this off for a moment. May not necessarily want it in there. Oh shit, here we go. Now we got bats coming on both sides of the screen. We have to work on the positioning of the left side, but that's okay. So long as everything works. This is going to apply significant pressure to the player. This is a huge upgrade. This is officially further than we've come. All right. I think that's a great place for us to take a break. Coming up on 3 hours, and we actually got a lot done. I had fun doing it, even though my left eye is just fucking out of control. I'm trying not to look at bright things, and I'm trying to keep the light down and just give it a little rest, because I don't know what's triggering it right now. But I'm going to try and rinse it out a bit, take a break, get something to eat. This has been successful. Not only did we get a good stream going on Twitch, but also on YouTube. We've effectively, this is part 10 of the ECS series. I'll go back and update the stream titles and add them to the playlist and everything. I still need to update my website to have links to the proper videos as well. And I'll probably just dig around and maybe, watch some videos and play some games off stream, just solo and meditate a bit, do some writing, brainstorm a bit. basically background the fuck out of this game for a while because it's getting so clean and so good that I'm getting more into the creative game design aspect of this process because it's so easy now to just come up with an idea, throw the code in for it, create a sprite, and then just drop it in there. That the feedback loop feels really good. In other words, like, excellent, dope. Glad to hear that you're working on your game as well. I believe it was Skyscraper RPG or something like that. Sky Tower, something. It's a cool name. I hope to be doing something like that in the future as well. But until next time, friends, thank you for joining, and follow, like, subscribe, share with your friends. Let everybody know that we are cooking up games from scratch. Not exactly scratch, but near scratch. You know what I mean? Like, C++ and libsdl ain't no stick to, you can't shake a stick at it. It's pretty hardcore stuff in comparison to doing it in another thing, but maybe in the future we'll pick up some Unreal. It might be worth it. All right, guys. Until next time, peace.